Hello everyone and welcome to a much closer Whisky Wednesday this week. Shooting in my bedroom because the house is still under a little bit of construction. But you've caught us on a wonderful day. It's like a 21 degree day today in Manchester. That is uncommon. So I'm here to talk about something a little bit sorry. Here we have the Glencadam white port cask maturation. Now I bought this quite a while ago and I was hoping for some slightly warmer weather to open it. And indeed we have that now. This is a 46% ABV natural colour, non-chill filtered Glencadam, as all Glencadams are. It is matured in refill American oak. That is all vatted together, I believe. Let me just double check my notes. All of that ex-American oak stuff is vatted together, and then it is finished in ex-white port barriques. Barrique's a bit of an unusual one. It's just the French word for barrel, but they typically hold about 225 litres compared to 250. Or a little bit more sometimes. So we do have a little bit more wood contact with this white port cask influence. You've got it in the glass. Everything in this room is white, so you get this really nice soft gold colour to everything. It just has this stunning warmth to it. Non-age stated liquid, that isn't a problem for me personally because you're still getting all these other bonuses to it as well. Glencadam is such an underrated distillery. Let me just turn that iPad off because it'll distract me. It's such an underrated style of whiskey. It has these hay-like, grassy, light qualities to it, which you can find in other whiskies, some which are easy to source, some which aren't. But I was really impressed with Glencadam 10. I think we reviewed that nearly 2 years ago now. That was just delightful. I've been trying to get hold of some 15-year-olds, 17-year-olds, but they sell out like that, so it's very difficult to source quite a lot of those all of the time. But this one is something I've been looking forward to. I've had this in the glass for hours, just covered, just to see while I've been doing things, just to see if it got a little bit more unusual. But let's smell, let's taste, let's see what's going on. Ooh. Something you may see while you watch this is that we have a dog and a cat. The cat lives upstairs. She's currently in the corner, sort of grooming herself, so if you see just like a tail come across shot, probably in the background, that's just Edith. The smell. Still getting that hay, grassy quality that is very familiar with Glencadam. Also familiar on things like Daffodil too. But along with this, we're getting loads of like lemon verbena, like kind of creamy lemony puddings. There's loads of fruit. But also a couple of tartar things to kind of contrast it as well. So we've got these nice strawberry notes, we've got these kind of slightly balsamic dark vinegar notes. There's some touches of black pepper, there's even a little bit of cherry, which is something that I wouldn't have expected from white port casks, but is pretty typical from American oak. You get a tiny little bit of wood influence too. I'm not going to take a guess at how old the liquid is. It smells rather wonderful. But yeah, these kind of juicy, fruity, not necessarily tropical, but just very like refreshing summery notes. But let's taste it because I've been looking at this thing for hours, wondering what it tastes like. That's quite interesting. Weirdly enough, if you were to give me this blind, the finish reminds me quite a lot of like brandy snaps, almost cognac. There's almost even like a raisiny quality to it. But you know, it is still a fortified wine made from grapes, white port, so you know, raisin probably shouldn't be that unusual as a flavour note. There is some nice savoury content running through the middle of this. It's almost like, again, a grassy, hay-like, but we also have a little bit of, I can't really put my finger on it. I don't have synesthesia, but it's reminding me of the colour yellow, and I don't know why. It's like yellow flavours. I know that's a little bit unusual. Let me go back to this, because there's something on the palate which I can't quite put my finger on. so it's initially a little bit sharp. We're getting the tartness from strawberry and cherry, like we mentioned before. I've realised it's not that complicated, it's quite a saltiness. This reminds me almost if Bunnahabhain 12 was fully bourbon cask matured. Just that kind of salinity that Bunnahabhain tends to have to it. It's quite present in this Glencadam. And that is contrasting with those kind of sour, tart fruit notes. There's a little bit of milk chocolate running through it, which is pretty interesting. I wasn't expecting that. And even almost like an elderflower presse, like something very clean, very bright at the end. And then as I'm talking to you right now, the finish again is slightly more herbal. It reminds me of bittering agents for cocktails like Suze, or something like a Bianco bitter from Martini, or one of those kind of whiter style of vermouths. With that too is a slight herbaceousness. I'm getting like a little bit of thyme, a little bit of sage. But again, that relates back to those grassy notes we're getting. This is fun. It is only the neck pour. I know there's debate about neck pour and is it a thing or is it not, but everyone who knows that I purchased this has really good things to say about it. And I feel like I need to give Glencadam a little bit more of a shining light because it's all really affordable. You get pretty good value for money overall, and it's not impossible to find. This is made in small batches along with a sherry cask and a red wine cask, I believe, and a few other things. But really sort of easy to source and not going to set you back a crazy amount of money. I think this cost me like below £40 from Tipples in Manchester. They have the full range in. But as a flavour, I think it's perfect for this wonderful weather we've currently got. It's not the most complex thing in the world, but it is pretty interesting, especially for at or below £40 a bottle. So I think I'm going to give that a 7.5 out of 10. It's very tasty, it's got some clean notes to it, it's quite tart, and then we have this nice herbal, earthy contrast to it at the end. The saltiness is a massive surprise, and the other white port cask whiskies I've tried, I wasn't a huge fan of. The Glen Scotia release from this year didn't really wow me. I tried something else in white port, what was it? Mine's gone, can't remember. But nonetheless, thank you for letting me kind of still make these videos with these stranger different backgrounds, and apologies for this one being very close. Probably be the case for the next few weeks, but I look forward to seeing you next week for something a little English and a little bit different. See you next week. Cheers.